It's always an early morning start when you come shooting squirrels. This is on my second feeder that I shoot. You can see there's already kind of like a camp already set up. I set my feeder about 20 yards away from this bushcraft area, which I'm very fortunate to have. So I'm just getting myself set up, ready to have a go. I know there's going to be a few this morning because they've been ravaging my feeder. Even been chewing it when it ran out of feed. So it takes me about 20 to 25 minutes to get everything set up, get my cameras out and get myself settled. But it only took around 17-18 minutes before this visitor came, because it was still quite dark, as you can tell. The night vision is actually still on my camera. So I've actually got the pod on my rifle at the moment. I blasted the first one. Unfortunately, that was not a clean shot, but behind this tree I do manage to take a second follow-up shot, and that one's put it down. This is now an hour later. I'm hoping after waiting all this time that I'll get a clean shot onto the next squirrel. That's if this one gives me an opportunity. You can see they've been scratching out the feeder, that tree stump there, that's where a lot of the feed is falling onto, as they're scratching about for it. You're going to notice there's a lot of trees in my way here, so apologies for the camera work, but sometimes I can't just go down chopping trees. I'm just going to see what this one's going to do. Looks like it's committing though. It's a bit agitated, but if it just gives me that still shot for a few seconds, that's all I need. Fortunately, it's made it all the way up to the feed. I'm hoping it's going to take one, stay still, and hopefully not run away. And it's still in two minds as to what to do. Well, you made my mind up. You're going to stay there. You're going to get lead flying your way. It's two down. Just 11 minutes later, we got this kamikaze jiu-jitsu squirrel come flying in. Seems very agitated, very hyper. I'm not sure if it's seen the dead squirrels. Just need you to come in a little bit now, so I've had to speed this up. It hasn't committed to the feeder, but it's just behind the tree stump, just at the bottom. Unfortunately, it's not presenting itself, but it's getting a little bit closer. Ah, there you go. Nice. A nice placement on that one. Right through its eye. That's number 3. Just 2 minutes later, this one has just witnessed something it didn't like. It's making a dash for it up the tree, so I'm trying to follow it. Certainly making some noise. So it's not happy. Not a happy chappy. Making some noise up there, so I just need to get my crosshairs onto it if possible. Completely poleaxe that one out of the tree. Kicking and thrashing, that's a good sign. He's gone hiding behind the tree though. About 15 minutes later, another one came in but runs away.
Well, we've had 4 down so far. I've seen quite a few squirrels running about, but not committing at the moment. First squirrel wasn't the best shot, needed a quick follow-up shot, but the other 3 have been fine. Last squirrel which came in, it was running along the floor, a little bit nervous, went onto the feeder, but then it ran off. So I'm just going to have a quick tidy up and see if that helps.
Around 10 minutes after collecting those dead ones, just seen another potential one coming in. They do seem a little bit skittish this morning. At the moment I've lost it. Just seems to be veering off to my left though. It's not a good sign. Looks like it's only a young one as well. And this one doesn't commit. However, around 6 minutes later, is it the same one? Not quite sure, but it's appeared within that area. If it is the same one, then that means the feeder's tempted it back. So if it is the same one, I'm pretty confident that this one will come in. It seems to be going in the wrong direction at the moment, that's not a good sign. But it's still hanging around. This might take some time, this one. And it decides what it wants to do. But either it's run round behind me without me seeing it, or that's a different squirrel. There's that many squirrels in this area, I can't keep up. Because they either come as none or in 2 or 3s. So this one's just run straight up on top of the feeder. I have put a little bit of feed just on top as well. What I need now is the squirrel to actually be still so I can take a shot. When it's being fidgety I can't take a shot. But there we go, peanut in its mouth. And I finally get the outcome I was after. You can actually see it just hit it above the eye. And it actually moved its head just as I pulled the trigger. But it was still a perfect placement. The morning's moving on. Seeing this one having a little perch. But again, this one's not interested either. And it's scarpers. But just a few minutes later after that one, this one comes darting in. Energetic little so-and-so. Is that the same one or is that a different one? You see, I can't keep up with all this. There's that many squirrels in this area. They seem to appear at the same time. I've no idea. So you can just see it just hanging around still. I'm still convinced there's a squirrel on the left, and yes, there it is, sniffing my monopod. with my GoPro at the top. Actually, there was another squirrel there, so I think there's 3 squirrels in this area right now. So I'm just hoping that at least one of them will commit. So we've got one onto my big long branch. Ah, we've got one set up on the tree stump now, and one going up to the feeder. Could say this is good news, but I don't like it when there's too many choices. So I'll go for the one on the stump. You can see the reaction of the one on the feeder when it hears the pellet. Yep, it's getting the hell out of there. And then just 4 minutes after that one, another one comes in. You see, the feed is being too tempting for them. The morning seems to be picking up now. This seems to be a kind of an optimum time for them. We've had a few early risers. This seems to be the general time that they tend to come out and feed. And this one's currently frozen in time. You can see that I'm just getting my crosshairs onto it. And that's number 7.
That's another 3 down. There does seem to be quite a lot of squirrels in the area. For some reason, they all seem to be committing onto the feeder. I've seen quite a lot, which I haven't been able to record with the camera. But yeah, it just seems to be. They just seem a bit shy of coming onto the feeder, but there's plenty of them. I'll be able to get a few more, I'm sure.
Don't really see that many pheasants in this part of the wood, but it is always nice to see them. For some reason, I think possibly I spook it here, so it makes off like a T-Rex. So only after a few minutes after that pheasant, another squirrel has appeared. We're going to see what plans this squirrel has. I know a few of them have been messing me around a little bit, so I'm having to speed this up a considerable amount. You can see there's at least 2 in the area right now. You can see that one looks like it's going up to the feeder. That one settled nice and quick. And we take another one down. Straight on to the next one now. Just sped this up right from the start because this goes on for several minutes. Just happens to be sitting to my left. Now the camera can just see it. Unfortunately, my rifle can't, because that sits on my right. you can see there, it's just on that point of, can I feed a pellet through? So I'm going to see if it's going to move. Well, that's looking a bit more promising. Ah, lovely. That was a fatal error. So now we've taken our 9th one. Feeding that pellet through that little narrow gap, just enough for me to get that shot off. Well, seeing as we got 9 squirrels down and I have a 10-shot magazine, it's time to change the mag. Remember, my first squirrel that I shot took 2 pellets, so that's why I'm changing after shooting the 9. So we've fully loaded again, full mag. Just sit back and relax, wait for the next one. And then I got a nice surprise by this nice roebuck. I do see them every now and again, but they are easily spooked. Any movement, anything at all, and it'll just run away. Always nice to watch when you're sitting there just watching nature go by. Anyway, well, just over 10 minutes ago. Deer's long gone now, but we've got another one coming in, another squirrel. Should make an appearance any second, hopefully. Yeah, there it is. Not sure if this one has brought any friends with it. So just going to speed this a little bit up here. Not quite sure what it has in mind at the moment. I think it's brought a friend as well. So because they're not staying still, I'm now deciding, should I go for this one? Yes. Yes, I should. It was slightly left the shot, but it was still a decent placement. I'll take it down. And you can see the times that they're coming in. This is only 7 minutes later after shooting that other one. And this is potentially number 11, which is now coming onto my feeder. Usually when they do sit on top of the feeder or stand on top of the feeder, that's usually a squirrel which is committed. It's just getting them to pick up some food and just stay still. But a lot of you squirrel shooters out there will know it can take a long time sometimes. Sometimes they're just straight in, other times they just like to mess you around. This one's hanging around. Unfortunately, I made the error of not actually cocking my rifle, as you'll hear now. So now I'm rushing. Unfortunately, this was a bad shot. But luckily I get that second one dialed straight onto it. And at this point I decide I'll just go have another quick tidy up, seeing as they do seem a little bit edgy sometimes coming in, and just see if that helps. Time for my jam sandwich. So hopefully I've got some energy so I don't miss the next shot, like I did for the 11th squirrel. I'm getting dizzy watching this. Now that they've stopped clowning around, I'm hoping that they're going to come in. They're just running up and down the trees. Looks like the peanuts have finally tempted them in. Like I said, once they're on the feeder, usually that's game over. They've committed. Picking up my food, which I laid on the top. And take another one. A bit dramatic, but I'll take it. Again, just above the eye. But still, it's a fatal one shot. So you can see in this shot here, I've got 4 squirrels. This is a case of which one do I go for? Is one going to go onto the feeder? At least we got one on my big long branch, my bait. Having a big long branch just seems to attract him onto the feeder. There's a tree in the way, so I can't put the crosshairs onto it, but it's on the branch. Because the camera is to the left, so I can see the squirrel. Now I'm just trying to manoeuvre myself into a position where I can see the squirrel, but the squirrel decides it's finally going to go to the feeder. So hopefully this might make things a little bit easier. There we go. I might call it quits now, so it's a decent amount. I was just about to call it quits until I noticed this very young wood pigeon. Seemed a little bit weak and it struggled to fly. and it soon disappeared into some undergrowth. And then I noticed a different visitor, which I didn't realise was there. So now I'll quickly turn my attention to this last squirrel, which could be a bonus, because I was just about ready to go. And take number 14.
And with that, we'll end it on that bonus one. Time to go collect the remaining few.
That's another squirrel session done. 14 down in total this morning, from about 6 o'clock to about 11 o'clock. It was pretty steady. Sometimes there were some lulls during each one, but they kept coming. Unfortunately, they kept coming around 2 or 3 at a time. So I'd shoot one, and then the other 1 or 2 would just run off again. But it is what it is. I know there's still plenty here, so I'll probably shoot it again closer to winter time. So I'll shoot it again one more time this year, but I do have another feeder to go and shoot. I'll probably be doing that one in October, so there'll be another squirrel video then, because I know there's still more squirrels in the other part of the wood, which is over there. But yeah, 14 down, couple of bad shots. First one was first one in the morning, wasn't a clean one, but I quickly got a follow-up shot. And the 11th one, that was because I forgot to cock it. So I thought I was already cocked, pulled the trigger, click, nothing, cock it, and now at this point I'm rushing. But sometimes it happens. I'll show every shot that I've taken, and every other one was nice and clean. So yeah, decent morning, and I'll see you on the next one.